This week on Days of Our Steelers, the Steelers have a very crucial home game against the Chicago Bears. And if the Steelers can win this game and next week versus Detroit, they'll be 6-3 in very good position to win a decent amount of games with their very tough schedule to end the season and potentially make a playoff push. And the Steelers are going to start with the ball tonight. Actually, no, they aren't, but Justin Fields got the ball first, and they stopped him, and Najee Harris running into the end zone for the touchdown. Najee Harris, and a lot of things were said on this broadcast today, such as him sleeping on the floor whenever he was in college. However, he slept in his bed, right? And I don't know if you guys saw the interview. You probably should have, with him on the Steelers Spanish interviewer. It was hilarious. I thoroughly enjoyed that. As we dump it off to Pat Freiermuth, and today he had pictures with Heath Miller, and it was leaked earlier today as well that whenever Ben Roethlisberger reacted to them to the Steelers getting Freiermuth, he barely knew who he was, except then his manager called him and said, hey, this is like the closest thing to Heath Miller you could possibly find. You're going to love him. In a month into the season, you can tell they really have a strong connection going. As Montgomery's going to run the football, and that's going to be a first down and more. Nice play by David Montgomery. He's back for the Chicago Bears today after injury. Glad to see him back and playing. Justin Fields is running, and that's something that Matt Nagy told him to do. He told Fields, look, if you don't see something right away, run. You are a mobile quarterback. As it's intercepted. Cameron Hayward, it looked like he batted it down, but it's intercepted, and this is his second interception of his career. His first one was against Week 1 on Monday Night Football against the Giants last year, and he has 2 career interceptions, which, believe it or not, matches the total interception total in Jamal Adams' entire career. Yes, that's right. Cameron Hayward has 2 in his career, and so does Jamal Adams. And Benny Snell's in the game for whatever reason. He is still alive, and yes, he's on the active roster. And that's going to be Deontay Johnson. What a nice play there. That's going to be a first down. Deontay Goodson just owned your defense. And right here, Roethlisberger throws it to Claypool. Steelers knocking on the door, trying to get a 2-possession lead going here. Roethlisberger. He fires to Freiermuth, who catches it for the touchdown. The former Penn State Nittany Lion, Pat Freiermuth. He goes into the stands, and the fans love him. They're yelling Muth left and right, and he really looks like the future for this tight end squad. But don't worry, guys, right? The Steelers had a C-, D+ draft grade, right, guys? And Watt, he brings down Justin Fields. TJ Watt. And if this was any normal team, then it would look for sure as if this was going to be a blowout in favor of the Steelers. However, we have to remember, Mike Tomlin's the head coach. And we're playing an inferior opponent. You know what that means. This is likely going to be a nail-biter. As right here, and that Raider, he was activated to the roster today, to the 53-man roster after Eric Ebron was announced he wouldn't play, which, once again, I have no idea why we still have him. Should have traded him at the trade deadline. Nevertheless, is going to give Chicago the football. And there goes Fields scrambling on 1st and 10. He's going to have to go out of bounds. Smart play by the defensive back, not pushing him too late. And that's going to be a solid gain of about 7. 1st and 10. He's able to connect with Cole Kmet. Welcome to the game. That's going to be a first down. And right there, he is wide open. Cole Kmet once again with the first down. And there goes Fields. Fields throws it, and it is incomplete. And that's going to make it a 4th down and goal for Chicago. Now, keep in mind, there were some very questionable calls throughout this game. And my take on that is both teams could have done things better. The Bears could have won in spite of the refs if they would have executed better. And the Steelers, we should be talking about how the Steelers won by a pretty decent margin, more than 1 possession, definitely, except, there was calls that went in their favor that shouldn't have been called, or no calls that went against the Bears. That would have just made their margin of victory less. But no, you're going to see that at the end of the game, you could easily argue that the officiating would have definitely made a difference in this game. I'm certainly not hiding away from that. As Goodwin, that's going to be caught, and the Bears seem to be doing this thing called offense. I know they haven't seen it much this year aside from their game against the Detroit Lions, but right now they are certainly playing this thing called offense. It might be foreign to them, but it looks like they're getting their feet in the water tonight, and it truly does not surprise me, and they're going to review this as a fumble. But honestly, he had possession of the football, and there's just absolutely no need for that. And that is going to be caught. What a nice throw by Justin Fields. It seems as if throughout the game he's starting to become more confident. It's going to 3rd down and goal. Looks like they were definitely pushed back, and that is going to be tackled. David Montgomery is going to get to about the 4. He's going to be tackled. Bears have to kick the field goal, and it is up, and it is good. So it's a 1-possession game. Steelers up by 8. Ben throws it, and it is going to be caught. It's a first down. James Washington with the reception, and we seem to be using him more on the offense than we have in previous weeks, and that honestly we should be using him more because he's a very underrated receiver on this team. I don't blame him at all for requesting a trade in the preseason, but we kept him nevertheless. And with Juju gone, you would expect for him to be in the offense more, but for some reason it's been Murray McLeod. And, bless his soul, he follows me on Twitter, but I just don't agree with that. I'd put in Washington over McLeod, as that's going to be a first down for the Steelers, and they're going to throw it, and Pat Freiermuth. Oh my goodness, that is a touchdown. He definitely has that Heath Miller genes right now, except trust me, he is more athletic. That's going to be a touchdown for the Steelers. Instead of saying you just got mossed, no, you just got muthed. And Boswell misses the extra point. You kind of have to wonder, does that have to do with him getting banged up last week? Man, now it's going to certainly be a nail-biter if he has to make clutch kicks against an inferior team like he usually has to. We have no idea what's going to happen, as Fields is going to scramble, and he's just going to have to go down. 2nd down and 5 for the Bears, almost towards the end of the third quarter, and he is wide open. He finds Darnell Mooney, who's starting to pick up the pace more into the game. That's going to be a first down for Chicago. He throws the football. What an excellent pass. Jimmy Graham with the reception. That's going to be a first down. Justin Fields, he's really playing well. Probably, if arguably his best game as a pro so far. Mooney gets the football, and he is going to walk into the end zone untouched. And we have a one-possession game on our hands. Pittsburgh up 20-13, and this is definitely the Steeler way because we can never put a game away, and that's going to be incomplete. But they're going to throw the flag. That's a really debatable call. Definitely was PI, but who was it on, offense or defense? They're going to call it on defense, and that's honestly really debatable. That's a super close call. I mean, you could definitely say it was offensive pass interference too. It's really just a lapse of judgment. If you had 10 people in the room, they're all going to tell you a different thing. As Harris, he's going to take off with the football, and he's going to just keep going all the way up to the 36-yard line, and he's going to gain 9. And what do you know? I love Najee Harris, man. But whenever we run the exact same play and go to the exact same side every single time on 3rd down and short, you think they might stack the box, and that's exactly what they did. Boswell with the kick. And after missing the extra point, he nails the 50-plus yard field goal attempt. And Pittsburgh's up 23-13. Bears with the kickoff. He's running. And, he fumbles the football. And Chris Boswell recovers it. And for whatever reason, Boswell's getting on the action in offense and defense. Last week, offense. And this week, he has a fumble recovery. And the Steelers are going to get the football. That is a huge play that could potentially put this football game away for the Steelers, especially if they were to score a touchdown right here. Wow. Chris Boswell, Pat McAfee said it best. He may have had one of the best fourth-quarter performances as a kicker that he has ever seen. And that's huge considering, McAfee. And that's going to be a sack. He gets sacked on 1st down. That's Roquan Smith. Nobody blocked him. That's definitely the worst play the offensive line's allowed tonight. And they've honestly been pretty decent. Ben overthrows him. And honestly, he's been a pretty good game manager the past 4 weeks. But this week, man, he hasn't really made many throws like that, but that was definitely not a great throw. 1st down, and just like the Steelers always do, they just can't pull away. They should have, you would hope that they would score that drive, but they don't. They waste a perfectly good opportunity. The only service that it really did to them was take time off the clock. TJ Watt with the sack. He is now the sack leader, and keep in mind, he missed 2 games with an injury, so very impressive for TJ Watt. And McLeod, he gets the punt. And he's trying to do a little bit too much. And the ball is out. Oh, my goodness. The ball is out. It is picked up. And it's going to be ran into the end zone for a touchdown. And just like that, the Super Bowl party is canceled. It was on, except for now it's canceled. But don't worry, guys. If they win this game by around 3 points, it's going to be back on, obviously. Obviously, this team's going to the Super Bowl. Only 95 more days at the time that I'm posting this video until the Pittsburgh Steelers make the video. Obviously, no sarcasm involved. And yes, that's a close call, but I do believe he fumbled that football, and he did fumble the football. So that's going to be a touchdown for the Bears. And Najee Harris making something out of what looked like nothing, about a gain of 13 there. That's going to be a first down. I absolutely love Najee. I'm so glad we picked him up. And that's going to be incomplete. Roethlisberger trying to come up in the clutch on 3rd down. And he is sacked. Big Ben is taken down. They're going to have to give this football back to the Chicago Bears. And he did a ninja kick right there, celebrating the sack, which I don't see an issue with. You're allowed to celebrate in the NFL, but at least you would think so. He's a former Steeler, by the way. The Bears picked him up on Wednesday. I'm assuming they did this just because they wanted to see, what he knew about the defense. And he is looking at Harvin, looking at the Steelers bench. He turns around, and wait, they called taunting? They called taunting on that. They're really going to call taunting. I believe you can taunt someone without physically saying anything, but come on, he got hip checked by the referee. That and the fact that all he did was a ninja kick. If anything, that was a very cool and athletic move. Okay? I'm not bothered by that at all. And you could say, oh, yeah, he was kind of like, showing them up a little bit. But it's so soft, because even though he may have tried to be taunting them, it certainly did not look like he was doing anything that was so extravagant that he should get called on taunting penalty right there. And that's going to give the Steelers back the football. Man, that really feels like a dirty play. I just can't even comprehend this. This officiating is the worst I've seen in years. And that's going to be a nice play to Deontay Johnson, not enough to get the first down. Boswell with the kick, and it is good. So after missing the extra point, he makes two 50-plus yard field goals in a row. And Heinz Field, it's not a friendly place to kick a football, just according to statistics and records. But Chris Boswell, man, he's definitely the best to have ever done it in this field. Maybe even in the Steelers in general, because, man, he is so clutch. Wish he would have made the extra point, but oh my goodness, he is so clutch. When you need him, he will do it. Okay, and that's going to be caught, and that's going to be a first down, and he's going to get pushed out of bounds, except, wow, the Bears, they might actually take the lead for the first time tonight if they're able to score a touchdown here. And wow, this is really the Steelers' way. Mike Tomlin is certainly going to talk about that in the press conference. Oh, it's the Steeler way, and it is. Oh my God, he caught it. They really might lose this game. It's a touchdown to Darnell Mooney, and the refs the Bears right now, they are really going against the Steelers and the refs this game, I must admit. And they take the lead, and honestly, they deserve it, because the Steelers haven't been on their A game in the second half. And even though the Steelers are probably the better team overall, the better team doesn't always win. And tonight might be a good example of it. As you can see, Mooney was in, and this is for the lead, and it is good. So Chicago 27, Pittsburgh 26. Roethlisberger's going to have to drive them down the field and try to get what will likely be a game-winning field goal, because I don't think they're going to have enough time to score a touchdown. So they're probably going to, this game might rely on the legs of Chris Boswell, McLeod for the first down. Ben, he takes a shot, and it's caught by Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson down to the 32-yard line. There's a flag, but it's on the defense. First down, Pittsburgh. And there is McLeod. But there's a false start on the offense. Tomlin doesn't seem to give a crap. He looks like he's constipated. So, this is certainly something where we keep biting ourselves in the foot. We keep shooting ourselves in the foot. No offense to Plaxico Burress. But, I mean, truly, why? First down, Roethlisberger, hopefully. No, it's not a first down. Boswell's going to line up for the kick, and it is good. Boswell makes the kick. Pittsburgh's up by 2. And the Bears are going to have to get a miracle. They're going to have to try to beat the Steelers and the refs right here. Because, honestly, that's what's happened today. It's very unfortunate. I hate seeing it, even if it does benefit my team. That's going to be out of bounds. Carlos Santos lining up for a 64-yard attempt. Everyone holds their breath. Oh my goodness. If that ball was placed about 5 feet towards the goalpost, it might have gone in. If that was a 60-yard field goal, that would have gone in. And the Steelers are able to get this victory. They have 4 wins in a row, and they advance to 5-3. 1 game out of first place with the Baltimore Ravens. It's unfortunate that they were able to come back and win that football game. But the Bengals, they look like they're going on the decline right now. The Browns, they looked like they're going on decline, but they have a really impressive win against the Bengals. So I don't really know how to feel about them right now. At the moment, they are, they could either fall off a cliff still, and that could have just been 1 game that they won, or they can completely turn their season around. We don't know. But the Steelers, after being 1-3, they're really right back in the thick of things, and they play the Detroit Lions, and all the national media is probably going to be saying, oh, Pittsburgh should get this easy win and advance to 6-3, right? And then they play their very difficult last half of their schedule. But let me tell you something, all right? The Steelers they truly could blow out the Lions. But considering what happened today, and yes, there were calls that helped the Steelers out, But at the end of the day, the Steelers should have been able to win this game all by themselves, just on their own, with the way they were playing the first half, quite handily. But they didn't. It's really as if I would not be shocked if the Steelers beat the Lions by 10 or less. I would not be shocked. Because this team, they always underperform to inferior opponents and overperform to superior opponents. So, I wouldn't write it off as an easy win, Steelers Nation. I hope it is. I truly hope it is. But this team really loves to give us heart attacks and place us in cardiac arrest. So I certainly would not be surprised if they do the same thing against the 0-8 Detroit Lions. I mean, the Lions, they could play the way they did against the Rams too. They have nothing to lose. Run fake punts. Do all those things, I definitely would not write this game off, especially because everyone's professionals and anything can happen on any given Sunday. And as for the officiating this game, like I said, the Bears could have done things differently, so they would have won this game in spite of the officiating with their execution, and the Steelers definitely could have done things themselves, to make sure that they won this game, and they would have won it even without the officiating, and what it seemed to be have a bias towards them. So, and what I mean by that is, the Steelers won by, let's just say they won this game by 14, right? They should have only won by, 8 because of the points that the officiating lost, but nevertheless they would have won, right? No, that's not what we're sitting here and talking about. There is a valid argument that the Steelers would have lost this football game and should have lost this football game if the officiating was competent. And as a football fan, I hate to see officiating like that. I don't care if it benefits my team. I don't like the argument that the Steelers fans are like, oh, it's about time, Yes, there have been bad calls against us in past games that would have won us the game. But you know what? We should have won in spite of those calls, and we had every opportunity to do so. And as far as I'm concerned, we shouldn't use that as an excuse to sit here and put ourselves in a pedestal because we beat the Bears by 2 points with the help of the referees, okay? I think this team's better than a team that beats the Bears by 2 points. However, I certainly do not think this team is to the level that they played tonight, especially in the second half. This should not have been the game that it was. It should not have been a close game, just even with the officiating helping the Steelers. It should not have been a close game, even if that were to have not happened. But it was. And I think this team is still a playoff caliber team if they play at an above average level and continue to play up to competition like they usually tend to do. But we'll have to see whenever they play their second half of the schedule. So definitely don't write off next week's game. But the Steelers, they've won 4 in a row. They are 5-3. Pat Freiermuth and Najee Harris are our fathers. And just like the Steelers, climbing up through the division, and trust me, we might as well make the playoffs because we're certainly not going to get a good draft pick. So are the days of our Steelers.